You've spent a lot of time and money planning the perfect Disney vacation, so don't get derailed by tech mishaps, wasted money, or unbearable crowds. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. Okay, your phone is dead. You can't pull up that Mine Train Fastpass you woke up at 5 a.m. to get 2 months ago, and your credit card is showing a $40 charge for a restaurant you didn't even dine at. Yeah, you want to avoid that kind of stuff on your Disney trip. Today we've got the simple tips that will make your vacation a whole lot less stressful. We've got a bunch of things to avoid at all costs in Disney World. First up, let's talk lost Fastpasses. If you missed your window, it isn't gone. If you are running late or lose track of time and find yourself outside that window for your Fastpass, don't worry too much. You usually have a little bit of a safety net to play with. In most cases, you may have a 5 to 15 minute window after your Fastpass expires that you can get in line. Getting there later than 15 minutes, check with a cast member at Guest Relations. They can't always make a Fastpass magically reappear for you, but if extraneous circumstances like your bus was delayed getting to the parks or you were stuck on a ride that broke down and missed your window for your next Fastpass happen, then they will do what they can to help you out. And know that if you did totally forget about a Fastpass you had, like a Haunted Mansion Fastpass you slept through this morning, it will still show up in the My Disney Experience app, and you can change the time or attraction to something later in the day when you finally do make it into the park. So what happens when a ride breaks down during your Fastpass window? Well, this happens all the time, either due to an actual breakdown of the ride, or if it starts raining, most outdoor rides will close. Don't panic. If you open My Disney Experience, the app, or check your email, you'll likely see your Fastpass has been transformed into a multi-experience pass. That means you can ride any ride in the park with the exception of a few major rides like Flight of Passage or Seven Dwarfs Mine Train if that wasn't what your Fastpass was for originally, anytime that day in lieu of the Fastpass you had. So if you like, you can come back later when that same ride is open again and ride later, or you can ride a different ride. Keep in mind, the ride choices will be limited to the park your Fastpass was in, so if you lost a Fastpass for Big Thunder Mountain, you probably can't use it for Frozen Ever After over in Epcot. So what if the ride your original Fastpass was for, it was one of those super popular rides like Slinky Dog Dash or Seven Dwarfs Mine Train? Don't sweat it, your multi-experience pass will include that ride in the available rides listed for you in the details of the pass. So just because it's raining, you won't lose that sought-after Fastpass for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. You can use it for another ride, but we'd usually wait it out and come ride it later when it's back operational. Oftentimes, those big multi-experience passes for those big rides will come with an extended window to come back and ride again. Someone on our team was about to use their Flight of Passage Fastpass when the ride went down, and up popped a multi-experience Fastpass that was good through the following day. All right, something else you want to avoid in Disney World at all costs is blisters and other chafed skin. Now, I know we talked to you about blisters a lot. We talked to you about shoes a lot because they are very, very important, y'all. I don't know if you've ever tried to walk 10 miles a day with a giant blister, but it's not okay. Anyway, you realize real quick in Disney World the value of good, dry shoes. When you're walking 10 to 15,000 plus steps a day, the last thing you're going to want is uncomfortable shoes. Trust us, this is not the time to break in those flashy new ones. You want reliably comfy shoes that you've already put through their paces back home and know will hold up all day. A major consideration to keep in mind, just like it says at Splash Mountain, you may get wet or even soaked on your Disney World trip. Between the unpredictable Florida rain, water rides like Holly River Rapids or Splash Mountain, or that spinning camel in Adventureland, there's a fair chance at some point in your trip those kicks could get wet. Consider opting for sandals on your trip with those sturdy back straps and waterproof fabric like Tevas. You guys know I always recommend Tevas because I wear them myself and I think they're really, really good for the parks. Now, they may not be making any huge fashion statements, but if your feet get wet, they won't slip and slide around. They won't rub into painful blisters. Make sure you wear them at home. Even the best sandals are not going to work out if you haven't broken them in. But those sandals that are kind of made out of that webbing and have that backstrap, those are going to dry out quickly as well. Those will be good to wear multiple days. If you're not the sandal type, sneakers are still fine, but consider packing a backup pair in case a freak rainstorm leaves you with really squishy shoes. And don't forget to pack extra dry socks just in case. It never hurts to pack a backup pair of shoes in general, regardless of the style you prefer. We know that even we've had those old faithful shoes betray us mid-trip and been faced with blisters. So packing moleskin can help with this. They also sell it in the hotel gift shops. Just stick it on your bare foot or the part of your shoe that's irritating you, and it should buy you a little bit of time. Now, if you do find yourself with only one pair of soaking wet sneakers, be sure to open them up as much as you can in your room and leave them somewhere breezy to dry out overnight. Leaving a dry pair of socks or towel inside them for a short while can help wick out some of the moisture as well. Or you can go to town with your handy dandy hair dryer in your hotel room. All right, next thing to avoid at Disney World, dead phones. Between using My Disney Experience for mobile order, checking Fastpass times, and snapping all those pictures, there's a good chance before the fireworks start each evening you'll be looking at a red low battery bar on your phone. There are a few options to work around a dying device. Fuel rods are rechargeable and exchangeable battery chargers located in little kiosks throughout the parks and hotels. These are super convenient, especially if you're on the go a lot and want to keep a backup charge with you. These aren't limited to just Disney World either. You can often find them in some airports, malls, and other non-Disney theme parks. Sometimes they're available for slightly cheaper if you get them before you go to Disney World too, so keep an eye out back home if you know you're going to want to use one. If you want to pick one up in the parks, you pay $30 for the initial fuel rod at a kiosk and will get a variety of charging cords that should work with most popular phone models. The beauty of these is that when you use one up, simply find a fuel rod kiosk and exchange it for a new fully charged one. Once you've paid for the initial fuel rod, you get as many free exchanges as you'd like. You can even get a fuel rod on a trip to Disney World, save it, and use it the next time you return to visit the parks. Remember that there are sometimes only 1 or 2 fuel rod stations in a park. Like at Animal Kingdom, there's only one inside the main merch shop towards the front of the park, Island Mercantile. So grab a fresh one before you need it. Other options, bring a charger from home. You can often find battery chargers for cheaper on Amazon, and often these will be good for 2 to 3 rounds of charging before you need to recharge it. If you're more flexible, you can also keep a charging cord on you and charge as you have time waiting. Some spots around the parks now have charging areas, like the sitting area outside the Tangled themed bathrooms in Magic Kingdom. Another easy place to grab a quick charge, on a Disney bus. Last year, Disney began transitioning the insides of their buses to have USB charging ports under many seats. Not all the buses have this yet, but if you find yourself on one that got this upgrade, you can sneak in a charge while you travel to your next destination. Don't forget, if you're going from like Animal Kingdom Lodge to Magic Kingdom, that could be a 30-minute ride. Now, the next thing you want to avoid in Disney World at all costs is paying no-show fees. Disney's policy allows you to cancel an advanced dining reservation without a fee up to 24 hours before the reservation begins. If you're within the cancellation window and miss your reservation, you'll be charged $10 per person on the reservation. And this can add up really, really quickly. If you've got 5 people and it's $10, it's $50 if you miss that meal. It's crazy. So you'll want to keep an eye on those reservation times so you plan ahead to not miss out. If you happen to arrive late to a reservation, you usually still have that same 15-minute grace period you will with Fastpasses. It happens all the time for the same reasons you might be late for Fastpass. A ride broke down with you on it, transportation is running late, etc. Just be sure to speak to the cast member checking you in. They'll often do what they can to accommodate a late seating. Don't want to deal with the stress of rushing to advanced dining reservations? You always have the option of opting for mostly quick service meals that you can get at your convenience. You'll still have plenty of options anywhere you go, and this can actually save you time by not sitting through a lengthy sit-down meal. So if you're worried about time management at the parks, quick service may be more at your speed. Next thing you want to avoid in Disney World, of course, spending money on things you don't need. Disney has loads of extras to add on to your trip, from ticketed events that get you access to a closed Magic Kingdom to the most ubiquitous upgrade to park hopper tickets. For some, these extra tickets and add-ons really plus up your vacation, and for others, they're just a way to throw money out the window because you never really use them. You probably don't want to buy tickets to an after-hours event for the whole family if you're usually in bed by 9 p.m. at home. Yeah, it's vacation, but you want to try to stay close to your normal schedule, especially with kids in tow. Your family is still your family in Disney World. There's no pixie dust that keeps you awake after 10 if you're normally fast asleep by then at home, especially when the kids are overstimulated all day. You guys have been up for rope drop. You're going to need to get to bed. After-hours events take place after the parks close to day guests, and even during slow seasons when the parks close early, they aren't going to start before 7 or 8 p.m. If you're not a night owl, you probably don't want to shell out $100 plus per person for an after-hours event. If you're a morning person, you might rather take advantage of one of Disney's early morning magic events, which gets you access to a park before it opens to everyone else, typically 7 to 9 a.m. Though that event would be a total waste of money for those of us who hate getting up early on vacation, myself included. Now, if you're traveling with young kids, you've probably factored in some nap time into your schedule and come to terms with the fact that you won't be running from ride to ride from park open to park close. Keep that in mind when you're purchasing park tickets. The upgrade to Park Hopper tickets might not seem like too much, a single $69 to $90 charge depending on how many days your park ticket is good for. But if you're only planning on having a few solid hours in the park each day, hopping to a second park might be a total waste of time and money for you. Disney transportation isn't necessarily known for being the fastest. It may take you close to an hour to get from one park to another. So factor in cranky kids in need of a snack and having to fold up that stroller to get over to Animal Kingdom in the heat of the afternoon and then walking into the Animal Kingdom, then everyone might just be happier taking a break at the pool. Using that park hopper might be more of a hassle than the relatively cheap upgrade price is worth. And remember, if you get to Disney World and you realize, no, we actually really need a park hopper, you can always upgrade your pass then. It doesn't cost any more than it would if you bought the park hopper ahead of time. So you guys decide, we'd really like to go to Animal Kingdom today. Go ahead up to the guest services counter and pay for an upgrade to your tickets to be park hoppers. Easy as pie. Now, we definitely recommend setting aside a souvenir budget, but we also highly recommend checking out Shop Disney before your trip to score some presents at a discount. If you know your kid loves Frozen and they're going to want an Elsa plush, go ahead and buy it before your trip when Shop Disney's offering 20% off and free shipping, and stash that toy in your luggage to pull out when you arrive. So many items sold in the parks are available to buy online, but in the parks, they won't go on sale. So save yourself some cash and some impulse buys and get that stuff online. You can also buy a lot of things after your trip if you get home and realize you absolutely did need that mug that you saw in the Emporium. Next thing to avoid at Disney World at all costs, using gross, crowded bathrooms. All right, this one might not seem like the most important tip we could give, but I promise if you're at Disney during a crowded time, you're going to be glad you watched this video. We actually have 2 full videos on just bathrooms in Disney World if you're looking for more weird facts and tips you never thought you'd need, but let's do a quick rundown of our favorite least crowded restrooms in each park. In Magic Kingdom, one of the cleanest, least crowded bathrooms is going to be right past Pirates of the Caribbean. It's kind of tucked back from the walkway and off to the side of the gift shop when you exit the ride. Most people don't realize it's there, and it's big. There are also bathrooms tucked behind Gaston's Tavern and inside the Tomorrowland Terrace restaurant, which is pretty much only used at night by people at the fireworks party. Now, sometimes they do have that roped off, that one. Magic Kingdom also has some of the coolest bathrooms. The Rapunzel bathrooms, which will definitely have a crowd. Sometimes we call them the Tangled toilets, which will definitely have a crowd because they're so obvious, but the details in these bathrooms are worth a trip. Yeah, we just added a bathroom to your must-do at Disney list. Over in Epcot, you'll find large and largely uncrowded restrooms inside the Epcot Experience building and tucked back in the American Adventure Pavilion. In Hollywood Studios, there are a few more hidden bathrooms, like inside the Star Wars launch bay or just off the entrance of the Hollywood Brown Derby restaurant. The restrooms in Muppets Courtyard also tend not to be too crowded, especially since most people are hightailing it to Galaxy's Edge, where the bathrooms are kind of tiny. Although, keep an eye out for the Dianoga if you're outside the bathroom in the Galaxy's Edge Marketplace. That's the trash monster from A New Hope, and he'll pop up in the tubes above the water fountains. Over in Animal Kingdom, we'd say check out the bathrooms in Pandora for the theming, but if you want no crowds, head to the bathrooms in Dinoland by Chester and Hester's, the merch shop, or down the path from the Festival of the Lion King. P.S. That path will take you between Pandora and Africa. It's a great shortcut not a lot of people know about. Also remember that if you're not in the parks yet, there's always a bathroom located right next to guest services, and there's typically no one in there since everyone's rushing in and out of the park. In the My Disney Experience app, you can search for restrooms to see the closest or to help you find a few of these ones that are off the beaten path. And finally, definitely avoid this in Disney World at all costs, the fireworks mass exodus. If you're looking to avoid crowds, this is a big one we know you're looking to avoid. The mass exodus after the fireworks have ended and everyone who is in the park for the day is headed to the buses, boats, monorail, Skyliner, etc., etc. It can be a headache getting out of the park in that mob. Plus, then you'll just need to wait in line to get back to your car or hotel. You could slip out before the fireworks begin, but who wants to do that? Instead, take your time leaving the park. Shops will stay open later than the park. That includes the confectionery at the Magic Kingdom if you need a late night treat. Grab a snack and a seat and wait for the crowds to move out before you hop in line to head back to the room for the night. Also keep in mind, there are multiple ways to leave the park. Go for the one with the shortest line. For instance, at Magic Kingdom, both the resort and express monorails along with the ferry can get you to the transportation and ticket center. If you're headed back to your car, just pick the one with the shortest line. And also, don't forget, if you are at the parks right at the end of the fireworks, be right next to the ride you want to ride, because remember, if you hop in line for a ride right when the park closes, you'll still be able to ride. So that'll be a good way to take up some time so you're not in the middle of that crazy mob trying to all get out of the park at the same time. So there we go, 7 things you need to avoid in Disney World at all costs and how to avoid them. Hopefully this has been helpful to you guys as you're planning your Disney World trips. We are absolutely looking forward to getting back in the parks. I can't wait. Looking forward to it, but please be safe at home, you guys. Please take care of yourselves, take care of your neighbors, and make sure you guys stay safe and stay healthy. Thanks for listening, and thanks for watching, you guys. As always, this is AJ from Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.